Okay, I'd like to call this special council meeting to order. It is Monday, February 24th at 6:35. Since Addie's not here to call the roll, I will. Maddox? Here. Posh?
Here.
Kuda is here. Cobb?
Here.
Larson?
Here.
Petrus? Here. All right, thank you. So we are here to vote on 3 pieces of legislation, one of which we're waiting for. So please bear with us, and we will be presenting. And Chris, that's the question I wanted to ask you. This legislation is being modified. So is it still going to be 30/20/25? Correct.
It hasn't been introduced yet, so there's nothing to amend it technically. So it can still be numbered as it is, and it doesn't have to be introduced as amended.
Okay, very good. And here comes the legislation. Okay, so the first piece of legislation, Addie, when you get to your seat, I actually took attendance. So you can read 30/20/25 if you would. Take your time.
Okay, I have ordinance number 030-2025 on first reading. An ordinance to repeal and replace certain subparagraphs of ordinance number 265/2024 is amended by ordinance number 008/2025 relating to appropriations and other expenditures of the city of Cleveland Heights, Ohio for the period of January 1, 2025 through March 31st, 2025, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure.
So moved.
All right, we had 2 so moved. So who's?
Second.
You got it.
We have 2 seconds. Okay. I'm sorry, Addie, did you get that? Okay. Any discussion? All right. So this legislation allows us to make some purchases that we're going to talk about in a moment. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Go ahead, Addie.
And just so you guys all know, I will upload the document I just handed you, which is the exhibit, after we're done here. There are a few formatting changes, so I'm going to make slight changes to what you guys have, but.
Okay.
Okay, next I have resolution number 031-2025 on first reading. A resolution authorizing an agreement with Ken Ganley Ford, Inc. for the purchase of 5 2025 Ford Utility Hybrid Police Interceptors for the Cleveland Heights Police Department and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Zarin.
So moved.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Anybody want to say anything about these wonderful cars? Go ahead, Mayor.
Actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about not just this particular expense that council is allowing us to move forward with, should it pass. But I wanted to mention a couple other things that will be coming back to council a little bit later. And I've asked Lieutenant Corrigan, I think he may have provided a little bit more information to Councilman Petrus. I don't know if there was additional information. Yes. And so we can provide this to council as well. This will be coming a little bit later on in the year after we get through our budget process. There will be some additional expenses for these cars as they come through. There's the initial purchase and the upfitting, but then there are 2 additional pieces that we need to implement a little bit later on in the year in order to get these on the road. The first is about $18,400 for the mobile data terminals that will be put into the car. This is state contract pricing. And then there's an additional $46,800 that will be for the radio equipment, the in-car and portable radio for each car. And that will be from Chagrin Valley Dispatch. And so basically, these things cannot be included in the purchase of the cars and the upfitting. They'll come separately, and they are going to come after these purchases of the cars. And part of the reason that we're not including that in this budget adjustment right now is because the need isn't urgent for these pieces. So we don't need to do it with the temporary budget. We can wait until the permanent budget is in place. And then secondly, because this may come out of a different fund than Fund 402, we may be using either the drug law enforcement or law enforcement fund instead of Fund 402 to make these capital additions to these cars. The dollar figure is relatively low, and the available funds in the law enforcement fund and drug law enforcement funds are sufficient to move forward with these. And so we're still determining sort of what that additional cost will come from.
All right, thank you, Mayor, for that additional information. Go ahead, Councilwoman Larson.
Clarification, Mayor. The 18,000 and the 48,000 additional, is that per vehicle
No,
for all 5 of them?
that's the total.
Thank you.
Councilman.
I just wanted to, again, commend the administration, the chief and the staff for finding these vehicles. I know how difficult it was. So if the public is wondering why we're pushing these through, it's because they were very difficult to find. The pricing is going to shift by the end of this month. Some of you may have heard in the last meeting. And so it's great to have these on the road, to be able to get them while we can, so we can keep our officers safe. And so this is one of the reasons that we're doing this. And so just excited to be able to put these extra cruisers on the road and get them really, really equipped so we can continue to move forward with the city. So that's all I wanted to add. It's
Thank
just
you.
a great job for that. Thank you.
This has been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. And then, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Annie.
Next, I have resolution number 032-2025 on first reading. A resolution authorizing an agreement with Hall Public Safety Upfitters for the purchase and installation of upfitting equipment for the 2025 Ford Utility Hybrid Police Interceptors for the Police Department, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Sarin.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? So this is to fit the 5 new cars with the equipment that the police need. No discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. And that takes care of all of our business. Before we adjourn, I want to let everybody know that we have a Administrative Services Committee meeting that'll meet in just a few minutes in the Committee of the Whole room. And we have a Finance Committee meeting tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And then the next City Council meeting is March 3rd. The Committee of the Whole is at 6 o'clock, and actually we have a hearing at 6 o'clock, and then 6:30 to 7:30 is Committee of the Whole on March 3rd, and then 7:30 on March 3rd we have our regular meeting. This meeting is adjourned.